Undead creatures are a core part of fantasy and horror alike. In horror, zombies are often created through the mismanagement of biotechnology, some type of disease or a mutation. In fantasy, the question of where undead come from can be more complicated. Existing in a world suffused with magic gives writers the opportunity to come up with all kinds of roles and reasons for undead existing. A very common one is an ancient army that rises at the call of their resurrected king. Undeath and the necromantic arts are closely linked, and the kinds of dynamics that exist between the death mage, undead minions, and the living can throw into question some core aspects of death and the soul. These dynamics are what I wish to discuss in this video. To have undead, first, we need to die. In most human societies, since ages past, the rituals surrounding the dead might differ, but the veneration of the dead is a near universal human trait. There are clear costs for doing as an animal might and devouring meat so as not to waste it, such as disease. So it makes sense that humans don't do that. However, the rituals surrounding the dead have always served an important social and even religious function. Ancient Egyptians would seal their royalty in tombs filled with artifacts and supplies, believing it to give the fallen a head start in the afterlife. Here in America, we have funerals where we lock people in overpriced boxes and bury them in the ground after speaking some nice words about them. Death might separate us from those we care about, but in some ways, it strengthens the bonds that remain. In real life, death is the finale. So imagine if mages, adventurers, and scholars had well-documented evidence of dastardly creatures that can possess our bodies after death. Not only that, but the dead can be forced to walk once more, or their spirits can linger to haunt their house for decades or even centuries. If we have complex and significant rituals surrounding our dead in real life, then a universe with such drastic consequences for leaving your dead vulnerable would no doubt take much greater care of the dead than even ours. In Nick Nacks, undead primarily form through a few methods. The first is the mistreatment of the dead, or quote-unquote natural undead. This could mean leaving corpses out to rot, or digging up graves. Not all such occasions create undead, and not always the same kinds. Disturbing the tombs of civilizations past can trigger a chain reaction that animates the dead to protect their chambers from would-be looters. In order to avoid these types of reanimations, usually all it takes is due deference to the fallen through some type of cremation or burial. As a result, these kinds of scenarios are generally uncommon for most people. The next type of undead creation is more common. A person of sufficiently strong will who dies full of regrets and spite may come back to haunt those who they believe wronged them in life. Ghosts cling to their home in spirit form until they receive some type of closure. A fallen soldier betrayed by their superiors returns to the barracks for one last mission. A prisoner left to rot in their cell for a crime they did not commit. These types of events are very small in scale and tend to happen on a more individual level. The final and most common way that undead are created is through necromancy. The profane art of yanking the spirits of the dead from the underworld and binding them back to their undying bodies to do another creature's bidding. Regardless of the intentions behind the necromancer's actions, this act is inherently causing immense spiritual suffering to another creature. The necromancers put the creature in the passenger seat of their own body as they force their will upon them. If you lean in close to the mindless creations of a necromancer, you can sometimes hear the spirit of the dead crying out for help. Rarely, this whisper can raise in volume to a scream, much to the necromancer's dismay. Usually these moments arise during things that the undead creature would have considered emotionally significant in life. The magic of mortal necromancers has natural limitations, usually keeping the population of skeletons and their ilk at a manageable level. Occasionally, an exceptional one left to their own devices can create an enormous amount of havoc. If it were only the mortal necromancers heroes needed to worry about, it wouldn't be so bad. The scariest of all necromancers are the ones that choose to join their creations in Undeath. In the past, kings maddened by the prospects of eternal life have dragged their kingdom down with them, killing and reanimating thousands in the process. Mages with a thirst for knowledge may get annoyed by the limitations of their physical body, seeing the desires and needs of the flesh as an interruption to their work. No matter the reason, the mortals that manage to succeed in their endeavors are always the most prolific creators of undead, pawns in some kind of twisted game of their own creation. But with only pawns, you can accomplish little. This is why necromancers treasure the bodies of the powerful and influential from ages past. They especially enjoy the corpses of monstrous beasts, putting them back to work, terrorizing the living. These creatures tend to be more unruly than they'd like, but the payoff of having such powerful creatures is too alluring for the greedy necromancer to pass up. Savvy necromancers may even use adventuring parties to do their bidding, hunting down large beasts, only to move in after the fact to claim their prize. Some of the quote-unquote good necromancers make pacts never to use their magic on specific creature types, to eliminate the possibility of suffering souls. Others simply try to use this magic for good, or to fulfill a duty. Some use them for labor, or as eternal guards over a tomb. Unfortunately, necromancy is not an exact science. The longer an undead creature exists, the more unstable the magic maintaining control becomes. Stories of undead turning on their masters serve as a warning. Even those with the best of intentions will end up corrupting themselves, or hurting those around them when practicing necromancy. I believe I have only scratched the surface in this video on the kinds of things that you can do with the rituals of the dead, and the resulting monsters that arise from the lack thereof. There are as many types of undead as there are ways to die or mismanage the dead. Severed hands from botched surgeries, floating clouds of malicious ash from accidental cremation, a well-preserved humanoid wrapped in bandages, rising from their tomb The types of death and the resulting rituals can help inform the strange oddities that arise. Once you add necromancy to the equation, you can start getting very creative. You can combine the bones of multiple creatures to make an entirely new abomination, or fill a corpse with loads of beetles writhing beneath the zombie's skin. Or perhaps you could substitute limbs that snapped off thanks to the cold with ice. No matter the occasion, there's always some type of undead creature that's a good fit, either as a big bad evil guy, or just a monster terrorizing a town. The variety and ubiquity of undead makes them very versatile, both in combat and in storytelling. Particularly unusual rituals surrounding the dead that you give to the various species, races, creatures, etc. around the world can create all kinds of strange and unique monsters. Good bones and calcium will come to you, but only if you type "Thank Mr. Skeletal" in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you'd like to hear about a specific topic, leave a comment and I'll try to include it in a future video. Subscribe if you want to see it. I love talking about game design in general, but tabletop RPGs are my favorite. I have links for my Twitter, Discord server, and the OneNote document I've been writing my own TTRPG in the comments below. It's called Nick Nacks, and it's most similar to Pathfinder 1st Edition. I'm working on a website right now where you can see it in all of its glory. When I'm done, I'll post that link in this video too. I regularly post some of my favorite and latest stuff on both my Discord server and my Twitter. But until then, farewell, fellow gamers.